at the cellular level is the mitochondria. And the mitochondria are the breathing organelle inside of the cells. And in the mitochondria, we're utilizing the sugar byproduct of digestion and oxygen from respiration. And those two come together and create this ATP. And that produces the energy for the functioning of those organelles within that cell, any secretions or a muscle contracting, whatever the function is. It goes on that ATP, and so a lot of times, I'm thinking just in terms of what you were saying, we run out of energy. Like sometimes we're tired because we really exerted ourselves and we're tired, and sometimes we're tired because we didn't exert ourselves. We just don't have the energy. And one of the things about this embryonic breathing is that it produces more blood cells. And the blood, well, this is my experience, produces more blood cells which carry the hemoglobin, which carries the oxygen. So we have more oxygen carriers to the mitochondria. And another thing that happens is when I would say you don't need your pituitary, you don't need your frontal lobe looking down, and that we don't need this kind of intensity that we've been trained to do in school. And it's a really good function, and one of the things in working with some children, I'm going to say, for example, children with low tone, maybe children who have Down syndrome, this area is not so active. So you actually want to bring more energy here because they have such incredible memories. First of all, I'm not speaking of an individual. I'm speaking just generally, and individuals are different. But whatever that extra chromosome is, it has a tendency to really empower the pineal and the memory and the ancient wisdom. And not so much about forward thinking, going to the moon, etc., projecting what isn't now happening. So that the pituitary is really important. It helps us to go beyond what we are now involved in. But if we're always doing that, in this particular case, when we're exploring some inner awareness, we don't need this forward projection. We actually will drop back. And then sometimes we do, we notice, and then it's just not to stay there all the time. And one of the reasons for that is that the brain is very greedy for oxygen, so that if we have just a little bit of oxygen, it's going to go to the brain because of the importance of the brain. The second place the oxygen goes, this I read, is the marrow. So when we release the brain from being so active in terms of the cortex, which is figuring out how to live, the oxygen will go to the marrow. And when it goes to the marrow, it will produce more blood cells, carry more oxygen to feed the brain. Where if we're always in the brain, we're using up the oxygen that we have, and it's not getting to the marrow to produce more blood cells. So this cycle about going back to the yolk sac somehow stimulates also the marrow. Because this is the place that we create blood cells now, and this was the first place that we created blood cells. So it's connecting our history. So that's the red blood cell. The white blood cell is the base of our immune system. So this in particular is also helpful for our immune function. And that the bone marrow is producing our white blood cells. And then a lot of them mature in the thymus, and the thymus was another previous blood cell producer. And we're creating more ATP, more energy, where this is taking away energy. If this is our resting place, means that then we can go here with more energy.
What's ATP?
Huh?
ATP, what is that?
Adenosine triphosphate. It's a molecule that, when broken apart, generates energy.
What I'm feeling is embryonic breathing. And why it's such a powerful practice for healing or for generating energy.